Right, so I've got a request from one of the members to put together a bit of a video for her, and I thought I'd do it for everybody. 5 good stretches that will make the most difference for her CrossFit when she comes back. So this is going to help absolutely everybody. If there's something you could do, you spend 10 minutes on a day, or more or longer, because there's a lot of research now, a hell of a lot of research to say that, you know, I know people are stretching up to well over an hour a day, as long as they're doing it correctly. Up to David Goggins, and he was doing 8 hours a day, and it made a massive, massive difference to him. So we've got the time. A lot of us have got the time anyway. So put together 5 different stretches, and then nothing that you're probably not familiar with. You've probably seen these before. We've gone through these before, but this is just a reminder, and you can put them into a bit of a flow, and it will help with everything that you do, especially if we've been spending a bit of time sitting on your ass. So first one is a piriformis stretch that you've done before. So let's move this down. You see my dogs in the background? They don't fucking move. We always said they weren't going to go on the sofa. Now look at them. So first one then, piriformis stretch, is where you come all the way down, one leg out straight, the other leg tuck up. You know this one, right? Come down onto the knee. Pin that foot to the floor if you can. So your outside foot here. And then lay down onto that leg. And you spend time down here. The more time that you can spend in a particular stretch, the better it's going to be. So what we try and say is 4 minutes a side. If you can do 4 minutes one side, 4 minutes the other, and you can do that whilst you're watching TV, whilst you put the kettle on, loads and loads of, we've got the time at the moment, most of us, so we can do this, right? So you should feel that on the outside of your hip here. It's the piriformis stretch, but really there's 6 external hip rotators, and at least actually there's more, and it doesn't matter which one you're stretching, it's whatever is tight from that position. You're stretching positions and movement rather than muscles. So don't worry about, we got to do this muscle stretch, this muscle stretch. We're stretching positional movement and positional restrictions, right? So that's what really, really matters. So make sure you do it both sides. Second one is the best. Deep squat. Come all the way down. You can put an elbow on. You can change this around, slide side to side, triage a horrible position, find the corners, find everything that's sticky. If your heel comes off as you're pushing around, doesn't matter. If your groin's getting tight, great, open that up as well. And if you can do it and stay here for 10 minutes, that is a brilliant squat test. I call it the 10-minute squat test. And if you can do it and grab your feet, start turning them forward as well and holding it out. If you can do 10 minutes, you've got a good, healthy hip, all right, or the start of a good one. Sorry, COVID. So that deep stretch or that deep squat position is so paramount to the health of your hip, your digestive system, toilet habits, absolutely everything. So it's going to mobilize your ankles, and your ankles are upstream compared to the rest of the body. Well, what happens at your ankles resonates everywhere. So if you can get after your ankles, that's one of the best things. And this stretch, that deep squat stretch, really, really helps you do it. Deloads, if you sit at the bottom and just hang at the bottom and you're comfortable down there, it can deload the tissues all across your lower back. So really, really, really good stretch. So the next one we're going to do is going to go upper body. I'm going to do a bit of a shoulder one. So you would have seen this before, but this is probably one of the best kind of shoulder stretches that you can do. If you can see that. A doorway stretch. So come up as if you're going to hold an overhead squat. Put your hands here and take your weight forward. Use this leg, the supporting leg, to take your weight. So your arms aren't going to take your weight. You're not trying to push the doorway away. This is trying to let go. You're trying to let go from here. And it's quite hard to do that. And the front leg, whatever leading leg you've got, it's going to take your body weight so your muscles aren't, or your joints aren't on your upper body. So open hand there and go through. And again, it doesn't matter where you feel the stretch. You can feel it lat, you can feel it like pecs, serratus anterior, you could feel it in all these, trapezius, even the lower trapezius, you feel it. It doesn't matter where you feel it, as long as whatever's positionally tight in those positions is what we should do. So that is number 3. Then 2 more, right? And as you'll know, most of these stretches that we're doing surround the hip. Everything that we can release around the hip is going to be paramount. So the next one then is, let's do that there, is a hamstring stretch, right? But there's a specific way we're going to do this. So we're going to do it, it's called P&F stretching. Proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation stretching. It doesn't really matter what the words are, it's how we do it that matters, right? It's just a posh way of facilitating a stretch. So what we do is we can stay quite upright with this. We put a foot on something and we hold it there. This leg is straight and this is comfortable position. If I bend here, I can get really far down and I've got no difference on my hamstring because I've curved at the back. If I keep my back engaged and bend forward, right, that stretch will come on. I don't even have to go very far, bang. And I'm turning my hips that way and that will come on like that. All right, just hold there. All right, now P&F, there's a couple of ways of doing it. The first way of doing it is what I'm going to do is I'm going to tense my quads. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be like 100%. 50% is good, right? So you just squeeze them on. 5 seconds. Relax, move forward a little bit, stretch comes back on, hold for 10. 5, 10, 5, 10. I've seen people do 5, 20. I've seen so many variations of the ratio, you know, but the principle is contract the opposing muscle, relax the muscle that you're trying to stretch. I'm going to explain why this works, right? So I'm going to contract that muscle, contract the quad, relax it, move in for twice as long as you were contracting it for. That's the idea, right? So that's one way. So I'm trying to stretch my hamstring and I contract the opposing muscle. So the other way of doing it then, that's called reciprocal inhibition, right? The other way of doing it is contract. So I'm contracting and trying to stretch the muscle, the same muscle, right? So I'll get into this position, and equally as effective as well is I'm going to be contracting the hamstring. So I'm pulling my heel down there. This knee's not going anywhere, it doesn't have to. Right? The legs, I'm still static. But I'm pulling down on my heel, so this hamstrings are light. Relax. And let go forward. And then do the same. And you can do this type of stretch as many times as you are making progress. So we try and say 3, but if there's any more than that, great. As long as you're making progress and it's safe, it's good. The reason why it works is, I called the first one, it's a bit of reciprocal inhibition, is when you walk, right, you imagine you've got the front of the leg and the back of the leg. This is the easiest way to think about it. In order for you to walk, you must contract one side, relax another, almost, right? So contract, relax. So the only way a muscle truly relaxes is when the equal and opposing muscle truly contracts. So then it gives that permission to just go, right, and let go. So that's the first one, is contracting the opposing muscle allows the other muscle, the one on the other side, to truly relax, so you can take it to its potential, all right? The other one is a little bit more complicated. You've got things within the muscle that tell your brain what that muscle's doing, where it is it stretching, is it tight, is the tension at the ends of, you know, in between it's called the Golgi tendon organs, which is at the junction, musculoskeletal junctions. And if I've elongated a muscle here, I know where it is because this is getting squeezed, and as it comes out, it relaxes. So it tells me, I don't have to look and know what my muscle's doing. I can do it behind me and I know where it is, right? So there's that. And if I open and close the muscle quickly. You've got muscle spindles around the around every muscle, and it will tell you where it is extending and flexing, right? So if I do that quickly, you'll get a pullback really quickly as well. If I go slowly, you get further. That's why when you stretch, you should go into them slowly. Bouncing's got some benefits, but not much really. It's a bit contraindicatory. So those two sensory feedbacks to the brain, the spindles and the tendon organs, Golgi tendon organs, you're basically fooling them to say there's more length in the muscle than there is. Right? So I'm squeezing, I'm taking it to the end of my range, holding the stretch, squeeze, 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 relax, but I haven't moved. And then your muscles go, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. I've got a little bit more room there in a sense, and it will allow more length in the muscle so you can take it a little bit further. And they're really, really effective ways of doing it. So that's the hamstring. And then the last one is a hip flexor stretch. And hip flexors are, they call it the flaming yarn of the human being. They make all the difference, right? If you've got a tight hip flexor, it pulls your entire body out, right? And the reason for that is lorry drivers. You see a lorry driver, they've been sat in this position for ages. As they get up, they do this, they go, oh, and they're here, and they're all pulled forward here, and their ass is out the back, because this muscle that goes from the front of the spine to the front of their femur has gone all short. So allowing it to fully open is so fundamental. And a lot of reasons why people can't do an overhead squat is tight hip flexors. Okay, it's tight shoulders, tight ankles, tight a lot of things. But the hip flexors are the ones that if they are tight, they will pull your back out and potentially put you in a lot of pain in your lower back, specifically around here, right? Because they will pull this way and put pressure on the back of the spine, on all the paraspinal muscles, all of the facet joints, and start pinching nerves and everything, and it's agony, right? So this is one of the main reasons why, is because we spend a lot of time sitting down. So let me show you the most easy, basic stretch. Sorry, my camera skills need a little bit of work, right? All right. So it would be this. Come all the way down. There. Try and keep hips facing forwards. Everything facing forwards at the minute. We can rotate and twist and find the tight corners. But fully extend on that leg. Come all the way down. Really open everything up. And I'm trying to get this part of the hip down towards the floor. And I'm quite relaxed upper body. But I know that my hip flexors are wanting to pull this forward to let the tension off. So when you're in this position, with what I just showed you a minute ago with P&S stretching, you can P&S this position. So as I'm here and I'm going forward, I can tense my ass, tight, 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 relax, go further, tight, relax, go further, and I can keep doing that. I can do it through the front as well, where I'm pulling my knee into the ground, relaxing it, going further, further and further and further. The hip flexor, right, can get so short so quickly. It's a bit like the hamstrings. They get so short so quickly because they're a two-joint muscle. So the hip flexors, well, actually, hip flexors are more than a two-joint muscle because they're crossing multiple joints in the spine, in your SI joints, in your femur, and your femoral hip joint into the acetabular there, and they can really, they shorten because they're responsible for so much, and that they are quite a complicated muscle because of, and there's not just one muscle in the hip flexor, there's lots of different areas that you would call, and with the hamstrings, they cross the hip and they cross the back of the knee. So it's a big difference with how you, what's time you spend in those stretches. That's why we focus on the two joint muscles more than almost anything else as well, because they make the biggest difference. Anyway, so I hope that helped. This went on a little bit. I didn't think it was going to go on 15 minutes. I hope it really helps. please do it. Right? It's going to make a massive difference for when you come back. You're going to be much healthier. And I'll see you soon. Cheers.